Now, before we reach the final session of today, we made a little survey to know what the community, our VC or our high-tech community think that will happen, what they predict for the coming year for the Israeli tech scene. We want to show you some of these results, what we've learned in the last few weeks from this survey. It was an online survey with really great participation, and we learned some of what you predict. Show the first slide. We use the platform of Segmenta, and I want to thank Shai Sharabi and Avigail Levin for making this happen, run this for us, and show these results. So, the journey ahead, what our community think for the next year. Let's start with the first one. So the first question was, what do we think is the next big Israeli disruption? And it turned out that it happened to be similar to our theme in this conference, which is the conscious technology, 34%. Let's go to the next one. Our second question was, what would be the key trend in terms of where money comes from to finance startups? And we see that all of you, or most of you, think that flow of Chinese money would help finance our startup next year. We then wanted to know if there's going to be any change in the profile of the Israeli entrepreneur, and what we've learned is that many people think that we're going to see more and more experienced entrepreneurs going for the second or third round. But then we asked a very interesting question. We wanted to know what would be the key trending factor in securing early-stage investors. And what we've learned is that there is a little bit of a difference between the investors and the entrepreneurs. It looks like the investors are really interested, first of all, in the killer team, but the entrepreneurs think that it's all about the hot space. So that, I think, is one thing very interesting for the entrepreneurs to understand when they get into the room speaking with investors to raise money. Couple of last slides. We wanted to know, everybody talks about Israel going from being a startup nation to a scale-up nation. We wanted to know, what do you think, what our community thinks? And we learned out that most of our communities still think that Israel is really about innovation and disruption more than being a large-scale company. We need to see if this is changing over years. We had a very large, very successful session here today about ICOs and blockchain and so on. We wanted to know, what do you think, whether ICOs can really become an alternative to VC money? And it looks like a very large portion do think that that would be the case. And the last slide, we wanted to know, what do you think would be in terms of mega investments for new Israeli unicorns, IPOs, and exit? And it looks like you all believe that there will be some, but kind of very minor. So that would be the case between 1 to 2 in each of these. That is the current prediction. But now, we really want to hear the experts. And we're going to have 7 experts here, each one of them in a different domain, give us 90 seconds of bold prediction what would happen in their respective domains. And for that, I want to call Michael Eisenberg, who's going to be moderating it. And after him, Dor Schooler from Intuition Robotics, Gigi Levy from NFX, Tal Bar-Noach Disruptive, Jonathan Ben-Arzi from First Time, Adi Sofer from Facebook, Daniel Schreiber from Lemonade, and Guy Horvitz from Deutsche Telekom. All the very best.
Thank you, Noam. Does this work? You hear me? Thank you, Noam. Thank you, Yoram. Thank you, Shuki. And thank you to the panelists. There are going to be some very simple rules. We're going to kind of keep this short and punchy. That means that every one of the people on stage who's used to speaking for 20 minutes uninterrupted will get 90 seconds, and then will be interrupted, and then peppered by 1 or 2 questions, depending on how much time Noam gives us. I always find it funny, they asked, Noam and Yoram asked that everyone make a very bold prediction looking into the future. Nobody wanted to define what bold was nor what the future was. But we'll point out that the Dow was like at 24,000. So this is a pretty heady time in the market, and there were a lot of predictions made, and we'll call it 2000, that we'll have to check next year. But all this is being videoed, and we'll go into some sort of time capsule, YouTube, and will be reported on when, Noam? Whenever. Okay. So without further ado, my first prediction is that Adi won't be the only woman on this panel in 10 years. I hope.
One. Couldn't you control that today?
What's that?
Couldn't you control that today, moderating it?
No comment. Dor, you're up first, 90 seconds.
Does this thing work? Hi, I'm Dor Schooler from Intuition Robotics. We built this beautiful little product called LEQ, which essentially is a proactive social robot that helps older adults deal with loneliness and social isolation by proactively keeping them engaged. I have 3 predictions today. One, AI will move from being a buzzword that's overused, that's interchangeable with machine learning or pattern recognition, essentially understanding what's in a picture, to what we really imagine AI to be in science fiction. A cognitive machine that understands the context of what's around us and can make independent, autonomous decisions that will affect our lives. And by the way, looking back, we'll wonder how we ever lived without it, just like I can't really drive without my GPS today. Number 2, we'll have many robots around us. These robots will become an integral part of our lives. They will make recommendations using what I mentioned before. They will interact with us in a brand new way that's very different from the way we use technology today. We won't need to learn how to work with them. They will learn how to communicate and be a part of our lives. And we will actually have real relationships with them. Not the type of relationships we have with humans, but a relationship nonetheless. And the third prediction is for you venture capitalists out here. Israeli companies, startups will build beautiful consumer hardware companies.
Time's up. This is a pitch for your company, not...
And you'll all invest in them.
All right, thank you for pitching your company, Intuition Robotics. We
Anytime.
appreciate it. So, just one quick question to the panel. How many you have companies that are using AI today, not in 8 years? So how's this a prediction for the future?
AI.
It's not where it needs to be at.
It's not where it needs to be at. How many of you in the audience think that you're going to have multiple robots in your home in 8 years? All right, thank you, Dor. Next, I got to get my order here. Gigi. Now you got a license to pitch your company. Go ahead.
I wish I had one. So they asked me to talk about AR and VR, and if you look at the way investors are treating these fields, it seems as if it's all like a fad and it's going to go away like 3D televisions. Reality is that's bullshit. 2 years from now, maybe nothing. 10 years from now, VR, we're going to have in our homes entertainment pods. These pods are going to basically allow us to control where we're at, but also through sensory feedback or brain manipulation, we'll be able to actually not just see and hear, we'll be able to also sense, touch, smell, and feel things that we can't today. The meaning is that we're going to be spending hours in these devices, and this is, some of them already are there today. They're first going to be in entertainment centers, then they're going to come into our homes, and the last stage of this is going to be a virtual world where people are actually going to interact like that. This is going to be a place where lots of young kids and lonely people are going to be spending a lot of time. This is going to create a lot of issues. Most of them is going to be addiction. There's going to be people that are going to be spending hours, if not all of their days, in these devices instead of in the real world. AR, on the other hand, that's going to be a lot more around utilities. Again, 2 years, nothing. 10 years from now, this is going to be integrated into all our sunglasses and glasses or contact lens. This is going to be something that's going to bring us data all the time. This is called the infinite canvas. So, you know, we once had the screen, then we had the mobile device. Now it's going to be the infinite canvas on our eyes. We're going to be using voice. We're going to be using eye control and brain control to control that. We're going to be summoning data as much as we want, whenever we want it.
Thank you. So you outlined a dystopian future for our living rooms and our children. Okay, what should we be doing today to prepare therapeutically and psychologically for the dystopian future you outlined? Can somebody turn on his microphone? That will work in 10 years too. Yeah.
So the reality is that I don't think there's anything we can do. You know, we should have done something when television came, we didn't. We should have done something when mobile came, we didn't. I don't think we're going to do anything. I think that with time, this is going to become a major issue. My last line on this is that I'm not sure that this is going to make our world a better place, but it's definitely going to happen. I mean, I'm seeing the signs already now.
Will you buy one for your living room?
Oh, I have every possible device out there right now. So.
Tal.
You don't see the slide.
Can we put slide? There it is.
Okay. Many people ask me outside why I came with a button shirt today, and they never saw me. It's always with T-shirt. So the answer is that I'm coming to close the party of the VCs. So what I would like to say in just the next minute is that we are investing all in companies that are doing disruption in the market, coming with innovation. But what is the innovation and disruption the VC community itself have been through the last 30 years? Well, guess it's about nothing. So if you see today, a lot of startups can raise money from VCs, angels, corporates, private equity, family office, crowdfunding, and now ICO. If you see the slide, the last 6 months, more ICO investments than seed and angel investments in the market, which is kind of scary for us, the VCs, especially the guys that wants to be there in the next 10 years. So my prediction is that for the early stage fund, we are going to continue doing our own investment, but with much less money coming to the early stage fund and more other vehicles that will join it. And for the growth VCs, I think they will face the toughest times because there will be other vehicles that will come instead of them. And if I'll ask now the audience here, the entrepreneurs, if you have $10 million now from VC or from ICO, and this is, ICO is 60 days and VC 6 months, which one you'll take? I think that over 50% will take the ICO, and this is against us because this is not our claim of fame.
So, after you've just talked me out of a job, and yourself, so is all that venture capitalists provide money? That's it? Just
You want
money?
the real answer?
Gigi, calm down, Gigi.
I don't think so.
No, one. You hear me?
Is that all you provide, Tal? Just money?
We are saying that we are helping the companies, and we are.
Guy doesn't
I know
believe
that
you. Look at him. He doesn't believe you.
No,
Look.
seriously now. I know that you are, and Guy, and Gigi, and Jonathan, and everybody here and Adi, or not?
No, Adi has a real job.
Adi have no, Adi is the serious here. We helping a lot. We're helping with strategy. We're helping with marketing, biz dev, recruiting, everything else, okay? What I'm saying is, I don't think that people appreciate it enough. And if I'm asking now...
Can we please give a round of applause for Tal so he feels appreciated, please?
And if I will ask now seriously, the entrepreneurs, and if you will be honest, in the next 60 days, when you raise your A or B round, you get $10 million through ICO, this vehicle, versus 6-month cycle, the same $10 million from VCs. Who will vote for option number 1? Raise your hand from the entrepreneurs.
Tal, looks like you still got a job.
Who is number 2? VCs.
There's no entrepreneur.
Ramile.
All right.
All right.
We can move on. The only thing I'll point out is that in the year 2000, this goes back to Dow 24,000. In the year 2000, there was something called MeVC and about 9 other MeVCs out there, which was the end of venture capital and crowdfunding and ICO. It wasn't ICO at the time, it was public venture capital. And most of those people, I believe, are in jail. That would have been a bold prediction then. Jonathan, you have what to go back to since you were once an entrepreneur and now you're a lowly VC. So give us your prediction.
I still believe in VCs, but I'm predicting something that is not regarding technology. It's about real estate. I think e-commerce is actually going to kill retail, and that's going to impact the type of real estate and pricing that you're going to have going forward. And I'm basing it on 3 main parameters that we see in 2017, because in 2017 is the first year that we see actual 5 out of every 6 new dollars that are coming into retail going into e-com. Now, know that this is a year, 2017, all the numbers are good. Gas prices are good, there's growth. All the numbers are just for a great year. And when you start and see what happens to retail trying to deal with that, you see that retail, the traditional ones, the Walmarts, are really doomed because on every point that they grow, they actually lose half a point.
I'm saying that the real estate business that you know it as of today is changing and is moving into a different thing. I'm not saying that it's going to be residential or versus what is commercial today, but I'm saying commercial real estate as you know it is going to change. And look into the number of bankruptcies that we had in 2017. Names like Toys R Us and Radio Shack and Gymboree and True Religion, they're out of business. We're predicting that this year we're going to have over 21 bankruptcies in American real estate. Now, in a mall, you know mall business. Once you have the anchor going down, then it's like a spiral going down, and most of them are going off. So I'm saying this is changing, and I don't know how of you doing real estate here, but think about it.
What percentage of malls in the United States will close in the next 10 years? Here's a prediction. Go ahead. What percent?
Asking me?
No, it's your prediction. Go ahead.
Listen, I think I'm not saying they're going to close down all of them. I'm saying that they're going to change in the way they are. It's going to be this generation that we're...
Change is not a prediction. That always happens. Come on, a number.
I say that over the coming 5 years, you're going to have 50% less malls. Like, that's good enough for you?
50% less. There we go. Jonathan, you may have missed it yesterday, but a company I'm invested in, for full disclosure, WeWork, bought a large percentage of Hudson Bay Corporation, which owns Lord & Taylor, Saks, et cetera, and the famous Lord & Taylor building in Manhattan on 38th, 39th, and 5th Avenue is becoming a WeWork. So
Good
there
reason.
you go. Yeah. All right. Our lone female panelist. Give her a round of applause, please.
So I think that because I'm the only woman, I'm going to get more than 90 seconds.
3 minutes.
All right, cool. That's done. So in 5 years from now, my husband will buy me a present that I will actually like. This may sound easy, but it's a massive challenge, and I'm sure this sounds familiar to all of you. Predicting someone's taste is a very difficult thing to do, even when it comes to the people we know best. To be fair, in most cases, we can't even define. I didn't start. Yes. Yeah. We're good? Okay. No? Good? Excellent. So to be fair, in most cases, we can't even define in words our own taste, let alone someone else's taste. On the other end, if you show me a bag, I will be able to say immediately if I like it or not. Play a music track, it will take me 5 seconds to let you know if I like it. But can I define or model my taste in music in words? I wouldn't know where to start. Genres are not enough. It may be the sound, the beat, the lyrics, harmony, melody. Taste is so hard to comprehend, so sometimes we even think about it as irrational. But in reality, taste has a structure. It's just complex to see. Spotify does a pretty good job predicting musical taste by classifying our music in many subcategories: light pop, indie folk, and many others. For me, the suggestions are right about 50% of the time. And we're usually happy with that success rate because the extra playlist is free. But it's still not accurate. Amazon does AI by recommendation based on previous transaction and people choice. However, even the store of everything doesn't really understand me.
Prediction.
All right. So I believe, and that in here, hold on. Okay. You need to help me with this? Help? Yes, here.
I see it down here. I don't
So-
see it up there. There we go.
Okay. Hold on with that bag. Good. Let's wait with that one. So I think that everyone wants to predict taste, right? From chefs to shoe designers, architects, filmmakers, shop, galleries, publishers. The objective is very clear. The execution is not. So far, no computing system has really been able to figure out taste. But can we even expect machines to do something that we can't do ourselves? I think the answer is yes. But it requires that machine will be able to find the complex structure behind our test and encode human intuition into an algorithm. And being able to program intuition is probably an important step towards conscious technology. So my bold prediction, Michael, 5 years from now, my husband will not buy me this bag, as machines will tell him not to.
Michael,
Do you want to ask a question,
no,
Tom?
you see that Facebook is taking over time over even here?
Adi, you mentioned Spotify. They do a pretty good job, even if I'm tone deaf. So why is that not already doing it?
I think it's a combination of two things. A, massive data. They have massive data on our song, massive data of playlist, but also the cost of false positive is zero. So when they suggest the music and you don't like it, they get an amazing indication with almost zero cost because the playlist is free.
Now, is your prediction that the machine will be able to understand your taste and therefore pick out a better bag for you, or that it'll pick out a better husband?
Hopefully both.
Okay, next, Daniel Schreiber. For full disclosure, we are an investor in Lemonade.
Good evening. Is this working? Yeah. So we work in the sector of insurance. Insurance is one of the largest, least loved, and a sector that is entirely unspoiled by innovation. The brands that dominate today dominated in the era of the horse-drawn carriage, and my prediction is that that is about to change and that the brands to replace them already exist. And I say that for two reasons. The first is that the assets that incumbents have built up over the last century are transforming themselves or morphing into liabilities. Take distribution as an example. They're very proud of having 50,000 brokers. Is that truly an asset, or in the era of the direct-to-consumer digital distribution, is that in fact a liability? And what is true of distribution is true of branding, of technology stack, of corporate culture, etc. The second reason is machine learning. Every app today touts machine learning as the panacea to transform an industry. I may have a food delivery app, and I'll talk about machine learning all day long, but ultimately my product is falafel. In insurance, the core product is statistics. There is nothing else. It's all about data and statistics, and therefore companies that are born not in the analog horse-drawn era, but on a substrate that is digital and big data native, are going to have a structural advantage over time. And my prediction is that what happened to retail through Amazon is we're now beginning that trajectory for insurance as well. Walmart may today outsell Amazon, but Amazon is worth twice as much as Walmart. Thank you.
Daniel. To make the prediction actionable, what percentage of brokers, insurance brokers, will not have jobs in 10 years?
For retail, forget the fancy high-end corporate stuff. For retail, I think the majority will not.
All right. Guy, you asked to be last. That means you will get the most question and most abuse. It better be the boldest prediction.
Well, I'm not the boldest person on the panel, but yeah, we can try that.
Thank you.
So, hey. So I look around me. You can look around yourself as well. Very familiar faces. Well, it's all the same people, year after year. It's our reunion here, basically. So my bold prediction is that in 10 years, I'll raise the bet. 5 years from now, half the people sitting in the audience are not going to be here. Okay. Now because of what? Yeah, don't be worried. The room is still going to be full. It's an amazing auditorium. Yeah, no. They're going to be here in this room, in this beautiful auditorium, right? No, don't worry about it. You owe me 10 seconds. And the reason is we just heard about a bunch of technologies. If you spent the entire day here, you heard about more technologies that are really, really pushing the envelope on innovation, both on the technology and the business model, and the new generation of entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, our industry on the capital side has not evolved as quickly and as well as the technology frontier. Actually, some will claim it has not evolved at all or by much. And that, of course, excludes the nice gentleman and lady here. Prediction, we're going to be extinct. But in order for that not to happen, this new generation of entrepreneurs is also going to be the new generation of investors with new business models. He owes me seconds, remember. With new business models, with more data, and of course, AI. And please, 10 more seconds. Let's use this opportunity. Since we are going to have the generational change, let's make it count. So let's also make sure that we help our industry become even better, more inclusive, more empowering, safer. No, it's a prediction. Sorry, guys. I mean,
What's the prediction?
50%. You want more? 60%. You got the rolls? Should I keep going? I mean, I can go up in the percentage. Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, before we call on Yoram, I'll make one last prediction, and that is that Ernst & Young will be doing Journey in 10 years, but they'll service the same number of clients with 1/3 less accountants due to a lot of the technologies. So it's not just insurance brokers, it's accountants. And all of our fees will go down. Thank you very much.
I knew I should have been taking Michael. Mike, you did an awesome job harassing this bunch of people. Thank you, Dor, Daniel, Jonathan, Gigi, Adi, Tal, Guy. Thank you all for coming for Journey 21st. We're going to have a great party outside with the VC band. Really, I think, in my humble eyes, it was the best journey ever, and yet more to see. So see you next year. Thank you for coming. Have a great time.